Hello there. Welcome to the Fantasy Threesome FPL podcast. I'm Phil. I'm back in my Ford Focus today. I'm here with Ant and Mike. Ant, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. I have a nice infected big toe, which has caused me lots of pain in the last couple of days. Other than that, I'm fine. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you. Yeah, all right. I haven't got anything as juicy as that. Quite literally juicy by the
Yeah,
sound.
it quite literally was. Yeah.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. Mike, how are you?
A slight delay there. Sorry, I'm coming to you live from Peru via satellite link up. I'm walking on sunshine, thanks, lad. And don't it feel good?
Wow. Okay. So, how were your game weeks? Well, actually, I'll preview what's happening in the pod this week. So, this is our mega pod, we've called it, but we've decided to break it down. So, it's like half a mega pod. So, a me pod. And so we're going to go through every team by team. Today it will be the first 10 teams, and it's sorted by alphabetical order of stadium name. Just to keep things fresh. And so it should be good. We'll quickly run over our teams from the weekend that was. And then there's no fixture preview this week because there's no fixtures because we've got another beautiful international break. You enjoy the international breaks there, Ant?
No, I mean, who does? I don't even know who England are playing or when they're playing, and I simply don't care.
Wonderful. Okay, well, with that, how did your game week go?
Oh, boys. Well, I thought game week 6 was bad. Game week 7 got even worse. I think you put the little screenshot of our WhatsApp chat, didn't you, on Twitter on Saturday lunchtime there. Mike was sat in the Vitality, all smug because Ronaldo had been dropped. Pogba had been dropped. Shaw, who I'd taken out, played. So that was ideal. So I've ended up, boys, again, second week running, below average, 36 points. Pretty awful showing, boys. I mean, I had Salah, and that was it. That was the only person in my team. Sanchez actually in goal, kept a clean sheet. He got 6. My back 3 of House, or whatever his name is, for Villa, he got me 1 point. Horse, thank you.
Horse!
Pinnock, 2. Marshall of Wolves, 3. And then my midfield was absolutely diabolical. Gallagher of Palace got 2. Damari Gray, 2. Pogba, who was actually my vice captain, got a single point. Thank goodness for Mohamed Salah, who was the only person who got me any respectable points with 13. Unfortunately, he wasn't my captain because I decided to go for Antonio. So that went well. He got 4.
At least you got to pick your captain.
Well, that is true, and maybe I shouldn't bother judging by this week. Mope, who I brought in, decided he wanted to get booked, so he just got a single point. Thanks, mate. And Cristiano Ronaldo, there he is. Yeah, there he is. 1 point. £12.6 million to get 1 point. So that's great. Cheers, guys. So actually,
oh dear,
actually, boys, I take it all back about the international break. I can't wait. Can't wait to not have rubbish scores. What's going on? 2 absolute shockers, boys. Absolute shockers. I think looking at Twitter Saturday night, I think it was a common theme, wasn't it? And we've seen from a couple of people in our league, and some family members have had somehow had even worse weeks than me. But Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I think in terms of an average score for the nation, it was pretty low. But yeah, I did all right, lads. I did all right. 46 points. So yeah, I think the average was 38.
How many transfers did you make?
I did make 3 transfers, so that gave me a -8. So I net of 38.
Oh, so you're on the average.
I'm on the average. My man Ramsdale again, another 6 points. Ben White comes off my bench for the second week in a row. He's got himself a clean sheet and a bonus point, so 7 for him. Livramento and Marçal both came off my bench because Chelsea-tastic, lads, was far from Chelsea-tastic. Had Alonso and Christensen, neither of whom started. Into midfield, and again, a bit of a sorry tale, really. Those kind of tried and tested Benrahma, Sarr, Rafinha, a 2, a 1, and a 3, respectively. Salah hit me 13, and we've said it before. I'll say it again. If in doubt, captain Salah, because he's on just terrific form. Pookie got me 2. Yet to see any real returns off the back of that investment for Pookie. Lukaku was my captain. Thank you very much to FPL Buddy for picking.
Tricks FPL picked your captain, wasn't it?
Oh, did he? Of course it was.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites. Sorry, Tricks. Sorry, Trix. Yeah. So old Trixie picked Lukaku, and I was really, really pleased with that because I fancied him to hammer some goals against Southampton. Didn't happen. And Ronaldo, along with half the players in the country, got me the 1 point. And with that, I think he's going to go. I mean, this will amaze you, lads. We're at Wednesday. I'm yet to make any transfers yet, but I'm about, I think, to take out Ronaldo and upgrade all kinds of players. But we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Phil, how did you fare?
Well, I was
Can you beat
having
38.
I actually can, which is
Oh.
miraculous because it couldn't have been
Sickening.
much worse. Okay, so my team, with 2 players left to play, I had a net of 12 points, which was pretty good. My captain was picked by FPL Buddy, and he actually was picked by Buddy, who went for Alonso, which wasn't a bad shout, except he got dropped completely, so he didn't play. I had Ronaldo 1, King 1, Lukaku 2, Demarai Gray 2, Rafinha with a massive 3 points. Traore came on for 1 minute at the end of the game, and was I glad for that 1 point. Livramento got me 4, Rudiger got me 2. Trent, I gambled that it was all mind games from Klopp. He didn't play. Then my 2 players did play. Sanchez, 6 points. Thank you, Sanchez in goal. And then, because Buddy had picked Alonso as my captain and he didn't play, my vice captain, Mohamed Salah, 26 points.
What a twist of fate that is.
Sickening.
Ended up from a net 12 to a net 44.
It seems to be a bit of a common theme that Sanchez seems to pick you boys up points late on in a weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He never seems to be like a 12 o'clock or a 3 o'clock on a Saturday. He's always either a tea time or a Sunday or a Monday. And yeah, obviously their record's been pretty good so far this season. And I think you boys had Duffy as well, right? So
No.
Not this
week. Okay.
I transferred out Duffy for Rudiger and Alonso, and they're combined 2 points.
Yes. Well, we've all been burnt by Chelsea Tastic.
Mike, have you failed to mention what you had on your bench in terms of points?
Yeah, well, my man Andros, didn't I?
Yes.
My man Andros with 10 points. Sat there staring at me.
Whoops.
You could trade that Townsend in for 10 Ismail Assars. Yeah. Pretty frustrating.
It could have been worse because a special mention to my mother-in-law, who she's excellent at this game, and she regularly texts me and says, "Don't forget, there's a Friday night kickoff. Don't forget to miss. You don't want to miss the deadline," which is wonderful of her. She's played it for years. She's got a net total this week of 12 points.
That's
Yowza.
That is I mean, there was 1 point Saturday. I genuinely thought I was going to get the lowest. I don't think I've got below 20 before, ever, and I was definitely heading that way.
She's got one for each apostle, mate.
This is crazy. She took a -4. Schmeichel in goal 1, Matt Ritchie 1, Van Dijk 1, Cresswell 1, Tielemans 1, Greenwood 1, Jota, Kovacic, Ings, Captain Ronaldo got a 2, Antonio 2. So all of those last ones got 2. So yeah, a net of 12 points.
Poor lady. I mean, if that was me, I would have thrown my toys well and truly out of the pram like I like to do, and would have just given up and just quit.
I mean, I was so tempted to text her, but I just didn't think it was fair. I just didn't think
Has this come up in conversation or WhatsApp group or anything yet?
A WhatsApp group with my mother-in-law.
Well, funnily enough, I was talking to your wife last night, and she says there is a family WhatsApp group that you've refused to be a part of.
Awkward.
I genuinely did have that conversation with her about 10 o'clock last night.
That's amazing. Why are you speaking to Phil's wife at 10 o'clock last night?
Well, we're just catching up.
Okay, cool.
Ask no questions, I'll tell no lies. But yeah, she did say that all the spouses in the family had been invited to join the family WhatsApp group, and Phil had declined the opportunity.
Oh.
I don't like pings. I don't like getting pings. It's annoying, isn't it? I love
the COVID app,
really, but ping, not the COVID app. No, I don't like those either. But
no,
no one likes pinging. So I felt for my mother-in-law anyway. 12 points. That's the lowest score I've ever seen.
That's fairly low. Poor lady.
Yeah.
Still, there's always next week.
There is always next week. And so, boys, let's move on to our. Should we do our quiz now? I've got because
Hold up. Sorry, we've got somebody that's lost. We've got a prize hamper that needs contributing to.
Of course we have. And did you know this is the first week that I have? This is the first week, game week 7, that I've actually beaten both of you.
Congratulations, your medal's in the post.
Yeah, nice work, Phil. Nice work. Closing the gap ever so slightly.
Yep. Anthony, you lost. So what are you putting in the prize hamper? Remind us what the hamper is, Ant.
It is at the end of the season. There will be a prize hamper for whoever wins our league. So every week, whoever loses out 3 of us contributes a prize for that hamper, and it must cost at least £5 or more.
I'm excited by this. I'm excited.
No books, boys, this week. Nothing relating to motorsport. No. Oh no, boys. A HD webcam is going in that little prize hamper. There you go.
Oh, is it a brand new HD webcam?
It is indeed, my friend. Boxed and ready to go.
Wow, that's exciting.
There you go. Because you've put in, what have you put in, Mike? You've put some
Bluetooth speaker.
There we go. So speaker, and now you've got a little webcam as well. So Merry Christmas.
Well, congratulations. I mean, I'm just looking at our podcast league. I currently sit 474th in our league. I don't know about you chaps, but
higher than that.
Let me give you the top 5, shall we? Just shout out to Bernie Bayer with Leave It Burn. Ludogretz is still up there. Ergen Settin. SC Kukapek, which is Hakan Gersan. Sean Ryder, who I'm pretty sure was something to do with the Happy Mondays. With Siggy Fiddlers. But top of our league are Gangsters Allardyce, which is a fantastic team name. And that is Daniel Masson Abraham. He's got 549 and he sits top ranked of the league and is in line to win that webcam, the Bluetooth speaker, the signed Nigel Mansell book, signed, let's be clear, by Ant and not by Nigel Mansell.
Which probably makes it more worthy, but anyway.
Lots of goodies coming. A bandana. Yeah. So yeah, Gangsters Allardyce, Daniel Masson Abraham. You are set at the moment to take the hamper, but there's a long way to go.
Gangsters Allardyce is currently ranked 6th in the whole world.
6th in the whole world?
Yeah.
6th in the whole world?
Yeah.
And he's in our league and he's number 1. I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
He must like prize hampers.
Daniel, if you're listening and you're not just jumping on board because you've heard there's an autobiography up for grabs, get in touch. drop Phil a line on Twitter. FPL Fantasy Threesome Pod.
Never say that.
Search something
FPL
like
Threesome Pod.
Search something like that, and you'll find him. And we'll get you on next week.
That would
be good to find out a little bit more about the guy top of our table.
I mean, Phil does have a T-shirt with our Twitter handle on the back of it, but I'm guessing he never wears it.
I'm wearing a T-shirt about cereal.
You're gonna have to let this go, Ant. I know you bought him. It was a lovely present, but he can't wear it every day to work. Like,
why not? I would.
It'll perish. It'll perish.
I mean, are you wearing your personalised Jensen Button shoes I bought you?
Not right now because I'm in the house. Obviously, when I'm outside the house, I do.
Oh, this is awkward.
I mean, I've worn them so much. They're well worn, mate. I'll show you. I probably need replacing. Actually, they've been so well worn, but that's fine.
Need replacing? I bought you them like a month and a half ago.
Well, that's how much I've worn them, mate. But that's fine.
Okay, boys.
Let's move on.
We don't normally need to do a quiz because we're going to discuss punts next week, but I've got a little quiz for you if you want. Are you interested?
Is it anything resembling Nigella or Cucurella that we had last week? Because I mean, I listened to that back 3 times last week. Shall I tell you how? I put the podcast on to listen to before I went to sleep, and every night that was the point at which I fell asleep. Amazing. So I had to keep tuning back into Nigella Cucurella, pick up where I'd left off. Eventually, 3rd night I got past it, but yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. So it would be good. What's the format of this quiz, Phil?
Exotic.
It's exotic. It's fantasy. Wow. It's more of a fantasy football quiz rather than Nigella or Cucurella. And I really want to point this out now. Cucurella is going straight in my team. He's out of position on fantasy football. He's a 5 million defender for Brighton, but he plays very high up the wing. And
has a serious lack of attacking returns in previous seasons elsewhere. But I did look at him before the season started. But you got to play with your eye. You got to watch this game with your eyes and not on stats. So
I like his name.
It's not a great phrase.
I like his hair.
Yeah, I thought you might like his hair.
Those
Yeah,
are
okay.
good enough reasons to get him in your team.
And he doesn't even tie his hair up. He just has a headband on and just lets it loose. I'm all for that.
Lovely
Well,
old stuff.
yeah, I mean that's prone to potential catastrophe, but fair enough. Fair enough.
Boys, let's start the quiz. I've got questions for you. Here's the theme. It's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz. The loser gets their captain picked by a listener with great instinct. Sometimes cruel and sometimes kind. The listener is always right. It's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz, it's a quiz.
Oh, my ears.
That is the point at which I'll be restarting the podcast every night this week.
Well, boys, I've actually done some research. Don't get angry at me. I've done some research in my own time, and I've done a league table based on purely fantasy football points. Okay, so you
Okay.
understand? So
Yep.
the total teams points.
Okay.
You with me there, Mike?
Yeah, I think so. So you're adding up all the Manchester United players, for example. You're adding up all their points,
Yeah.
and you're putting them in a table alongside all of Manchester United players, Manchester City's, and you're gonna rank them.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, so I'll give you a position in the table, and I will give you a team that you think is at that position, and if you get it right, you get a point. You both get to guess each.
To be clear, you're going to give us a position, and you're going to give us a team, and we're going to tell you whether we're right. You're giving us a lot of stuff. Where do we come into playing the game?
It's quite a self-interesting game.
Do we just clap at the end?
Oh dear.
So you're going to give us a place in the table.
I'm going to say like 10th, and you both get a guess at who's 10th.
Right.
All right. Oh, fine.
That makes much more sense.
Happy to get involved.
That's
Let's do it.
a better description from the start, but my apologies.
Fine.
Okay, so let's go with that. 10th in the table in fantasy football points. What do you think, Anthony?
Leicester.
Okay,
Oh
Mike,
no, I think they're much lower. I'm going to go Arsenal.
you're going to go Arsenal. Okay, so Mike gets a point. Arsenal are 11th,
Oh,
Yes.
so he's closer.
which is actually where they are in the league.
Spurs are 10th.
Okay.
Okay, so Mike is 1-0 up.
Well done, Mike.
5th place team.
Who's going first?
Mike,
You can go first. You can go first, then. It's all right. You're losing.
Thank you. West Ham.
West Ham. Okay.
Oh, West Ham's pretty solid. I'm gonna go for. Well, I think you might have it with West Ham. No, I'll go Man City.
Okay, Mike gets a point. Man City are closer than West Ham. Man City are 3rd. West Ham are down in 9th.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
5th place, Brentford.
Oh.
Wow, that's interesting.
You wouldn't have
Okay.
thought at the start of the season, would you?
No.
No, you would not.
Lots of cheap players, and they're flying. Okay, I am going to go for 19th.
Go on,
who-
Ant, you can go again because
19th
you're
in
still
the
losing.
Yes, just a struggle here, isn't it? 19th. Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Oh, that's a solid answer. 19th out of 20. I'm gonna go for Burnley.
Well, Newcastle 17th, Burnley at 18th, but 19th is surprising. Watford.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
So Watford players are not getting many points. I mean, everyone's
Wow.
star, but there's a reason that people aren't getting anyone else in.
People were putting their hands up in there and saying, "How on earth they're letting a 13th manager go in 12 years at Watford?" There's your proof why, lads.
Yeah. All down to FPL stats.
Yeah. Presumably the Pozzos are big on FPL.
Presumably
Not
that's what they get.
not happy with the FPL point output.
I wasn't happy with Josh King getting 1 point and going off at half time this week.
No.
Okay, last one for you. And then
Okay.
then I'll run through all of them.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 16th.
Anthony, you can go. You can go first because you're definitely lost.
Makes a change. Leeds.
Okay, Mike.
Well, you've made some very solid guesses, Ant.
Thank you, Mike. And they're worth absolutely nothing.
No, I'm going to say Leicester.
Okay, Leeds is correct, Dan. They are 16th.
Oh,
there
well
you go.
done.
Goodness me. A little bit of pride for a change. Lovely old stuff.
So I'll put this up on our Twitter feed. But the league, according to Fantasy Football Points, goes like this: Liverpool got 422. Then you got Chelsea, Man City, Everton, Brentford, who are above Man United, Aston Villa, Brighton, West Ham, Spurs, Arsenal, Palace, Wolves, Leicester, Southampton, Leeds, Newcastle, Burnley, Watford, and poor Norwich haven't even hit the 200-point mark yet.
Oh, Norwich.
183 points in 7 games.
Oh
dear.
dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
If they were a dog, they'd have been put down by now.
They would.
It's not pleasant. I'm just telling it like it is.
If they were a pig, you would have castrated them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. Now's not the time to get into politics, but a lot of pigs, sadly, being left to or being culled, right? Because the lack of pork farmers around.
Good
Disappointing.
grief.
I feel like we should be setting up some kind of pig adoption scheme where people could just go and help themselves to a pig, rather than have them just killed.
Oh, that's
Just
going
go and get a pet
are they?
pig.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, my wife really likes. She wants a micro pig, but the risk
just-
there is massive.
Yeah, just tell her they were out of the micro ones, but that you managed to get her a full size one for the same price. Yeah, but it's genuine. It's quite sad as a vegetarian who's just ordered a sausage sandwich. It'll be with me very shortly. It does make me quite sad.
Sausage, a vegetarian, but only at weekends.
Yeah, Week Will Wednesday is what I have. So I'm vegetarian for 6 days of the week now. But on a Wednesday, I allow myself a sausage sandwich. It doesn't feel that much like meat.
I mean, you've just gone to save the pigs, and you've literally said you're having a pig.
Yeah, no, I am. But let's be honest, best I do, because otherwise they're just being killed and not getting to be eaten. What would the pig prefer?
What would you prefer to just?
Well, actually, I suppose it's a bit like an organ donor card, isn't it? From a pig's perspective, you know, do they want to just like be culled, or do they want their organs to go to good use, like pies?
How do we get into these tangent conversations every week?
It's something for us all to think about. But I feel like some kind of pig adoption scheme should be looked at.
Will you start it, Mike? Off you go.
Well, maybe I will. I need some kind of snappy title for it. But I'll come up with something. I'll come up with something. By the end of the show, I'll have a name for my pig adoption scheme.
Okay.
Something to look forward to.
I've just written down pork chops just to remind me.
Oh, boys. Okay, so we're going to go through 10 teams now, one at a time. As I said, they're alphanumeric, based on their stadium names. And Anthony, do you want to go first?
Who have I got? Liverpool, I presume, at Anfield.
Well, I don't know. I gave you the list. I mean, have a look.
Yeah, okay. It is Liverpool then. Yeah, well, as you just rightly pointed out, mate, Liverpool high top of the league in terms of FPL points. Actually sat second in the league. But Mohamed Salah, again, he's the one who I've had in my team who's probably kind of propped me up, boys. But he is flying along. 60% ownership. He's now got 70 points. But there's a few who've kind of gone under the radar. So, Phil, you had Mane earlier in the season, didn't you?
Yeah, should have kept.
Yeah, he's not in many teams, boys. Just 2.8%. But he's actually had good returns in 5 of his 7 game weeks. And I think the only thing putting people off here is the cost. He's still at 11.9 million, but he's Liverpool's second highest point scorer with 41 points. So possibly one to look at after the international break. I think having Van Dijk has been big for Liverpool, having him back in the team this season. But probably the one that's been a little bit disappointed, boys. I don't know if you agree with me on this one. Is Jota. I think, Mike, you had him quite early on in the season. He's played.
He did all right for me early doors. And 7.5 at the time was okay as an option.
But 500 minutes played this season, boys. Just 3 goals, no assists. So I feel he could be doing better in that team.
He gets chances, doesn't he, Jota? He just doesn't tuck them away.
Yeah, well, of course, Firmino's the one as well, isn't he? He's been injured earlier on in the season. He's now on the bench. But yeah, Jota was kind of expected. He scored in the first 2 game weeks, and I think there's a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon. But he's been very quiet. Just the goal against Brentford in game week 6. Other than that, boys, not a lot to show for him.
How old do you think Firmino is?
How old do I think he is?
Yeah.
Oh, 28.
Phil?
29.
Oh, he's 30. That was a bit boring, wasn't it?
It was.
I thought I was going to wow you. If that, I thought you were both going to say like 23, 24.
It wasn't as good as my quiz, it appears.
He's got the teeth of a 23-year-old.
That is true. It's no player.
Yes, it's very true. It's not, is it? But
what about Piglet? So
I like it.
In theory, it's some kind of lease scheme, but actually, you never really have to give them back. Piglet.
I like that.
Piglet.
I don't think you're going to get better than that.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's possible.
Okay, well,
I quite like it.
all right, so carry on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I think we covered it.
Van Dijk has just steadily picked up points, hasn't he?
Yeah, 35 points he's got. He had a massive return in game week 5 when he got 12 points against Crystal Palace. But yeah, 35 points, sat there along with TAA, who, of course, another one who I had early doors in my team, scored 12 points, and of course, he's then picked up that injury. But he still sat there on my bench. I think he's going to be back next week, I believe. So hoping he'll be back in the points soon. But yeah, Liverpool assets again. You know, those 40% of people haven't got Salah. I wonder how long that will be, because he's starting to look like the best player in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? You kind of think, well, I understand the whole no premiums route, and that way you get a better distribution of points. But with Salah, he's got. I saw on Twitter someone put it on there. I can't remember.
Hug a hog.
I feel like Mike's lost focus here.
Hug a hog. Just on life, not just for Christmas.
Just on Salah, he's in 6 of his 7 game weeks he's returned, basically, boys.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this, so I screenshotted this. Here we go. It was Andrew Gower put this on Twitter. Mo Salah, in the last 5 seasons at this point, after 7 games, has had 43 points, 39 points, 53 points, 58 points, and this season he's already on 70.
Yeah, he's flying.
10 points a game is absolutely ridiculous.
Yep, it's fairly ludicrous, isn't it? And that goal he scored on Sunday. Yeah, up for goal of the season, boys.
I made my children jump celebrating that goal, and not even on a fancy football perspective, but just because it was incredible. Because if you watch it, the ball isn't even on the floor; it's bouncing. It's just bobbling along. The whole dribble, the ball is bobbling, which to me makes it a lot harder to keep it under control. It was an incredible finish.
Imagine being that good at football. Lucky boy.
Yeah.
The swine is mine.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Mike. Oh no, actually, Ant. Has there been any disappointments on Liverpool team?
Well, Jota, as I say, for me was really the only one. He's actually still in 17% of teams. Started well, tailed off. Firmino, boys, is he going to come into that team now? Do we think now he's back from injury?
That's too much of a gamble. I think he was fit at the start of the season, and Jota was still in ahead.
Yeah,
of him.
True.
Yeah,
I think.
Other than that, the only disappointment is TAA getting injured, because he was on fire, and hopefully he'll be back in sooner rather than later.
So, how much would you score them out of 10, Ant?
I'm going to give them a 9.
Cool. 9 out of 10. Mike, who's your first team?
Just really quickly, and then I'll stop talking about pigs. If we get one, I'm going to call mine Calvin Swine. Right. So I've got Leeds, Man City, and Arsenal. Who do you want me to go first?
Well, I'll let you choose.
Let's go Leeds, because I looked at them first. So Leeds, it's been a really disappointing start for Leeds. I had high hopes for them.
Thanks
going
for
into
this guy.
Yeah, going into the season. Obviously, they lost that opening game away at Man United 5-1, the Fernandes hat trick and the like. Sorry, lad, sausage sandwich has just turned up. we've got results from that after that. A bit distracted by the sausage sandwich. They drew at home to Everton. They drew away at Burnley. They then lost 3-0 at Liverpool. Basically, it's been really, really patchy, lads. They won for the first time this last game week at home to Watford. They've got a few injuries. I mean, Ayling's injured. They've got their cock out, haven't they?
Pardon?
What?
Don't even play along, Ant.
He's out. He's injured.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
He's injured. And they've only scored more than one goal on one occasion. It seems to me that at the moment they're playing well against teams that sit in. That actually gives them half a chance. But the teams that want to play football the way we like football to be played, your Uniteds, your Liverpools, even your Newcastles that play with a bit of an attacking intent, they're really struggling. It's a worry. I mean, in terms of assets, your top two assets are Rafinha with 31 points at 6.6. He's got 17% ownership and looks. Yeah, I mean, when you watch the game, he looks their biggest threat, and actually that's stacking up in FPL. Bamford's the one that I would, unsurprisingly, I'd be. You had it queued up, ready to go. 7.8 mil he's dropped to now. Only the 21 points. Yet to really kickstart his season. So yeah, I would look at the teams that they're coming up against in the next few weeks, and say that actually the teams they're playing are not too bad in terms of style that suits. You don't want a team. What I would certainly avoid is their defensive options. A lot of us had Ayling, but like I say, he's injured along with Koch, which is not ideal. Not ideal at all. Let's look at their fixtures. They've got Southampton away next time out. Then they've got Wolves at home. So those are two teams that they're not the most attacking of teams, are they? And then Norwich away, actually, I think could be a banana skin. I think that could be Norwich's first points against Leeds, but we'll see. The next two, though, look quite hopeful, so I'm going to stick with Rafinha with that in mind. Okay. Here ends my Leeds review. I'm just going to open up the sandwich.
Craig, who is watching along, has an excellent idea for your pig adoption scheme.
Oh, yeah.
He's suggesting that you call it Pork Life with the Blur album cover.
Oh, that's nice.
Very good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, he's done well there.
Fair play, Craig. Like that a lot. Like that a lot. Very good. I'll stop now because I don't want to bore you.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, boys, I'll go on to my first team, which is Brighton. And they've had an incredible start to the season, haven't they? With in real life, with the table position. Where are they? But
they're in sixth, I think, at the moment.
And also
level on points with Everton and Man United.
Fantasy football table, they're 8th, 314 points so far. Which, when you bear in mind that attacking wise, they haven't been firing on all cylinders yet. They've just been strong at the back. You've got to look at the man Duffy. You got me begging you for mercy. Who was a 4 million asset at the start of the season. He looked absolutely finished. He was on loan at Celtic last year. He didn't look like he had a look in, did he, at Brighton? That was sort of curtain for him. And then a couple of injuries has meant. Actually, they had more than a couple of injuries. Do you remember at the start? I think on our season preview pod, we looked at it. They had a ridiculous amount of injuries. So he's been forced to play. He's now selected by 23.7% of all teams. Sadly, I sold him to get in no points from Alonso. But his scores so far 2-14-1, 5-5-2-6. Now he is getting every game I watch Brighton play. He's getting at least 2 headed opportunities from corners.
They love hitting him from a corner.
They do.
He's got 1 goal and 1 assist so far in 7 games, which for a defender is not bad. He's picked up 3 bonus points as well. I mean, if you haven't got him in, like me, I don't know why, because he's just such good value. You got Mopé in that. 6.5 million. He's picked up 32 points so far. It's not terrible.
No, I thought he was going to hit a little run, and then he got 1 point against Arsenal. But
Only one game.
yeah, he's always someone who's I've always wanted to pick previously and haven't for some reason. I thought this week I would go for it, and especially as I had Dennis, who is the guy he replaced for Watford. It seemed like an upgrade, but not after a single point of the weekend.
Well, they've got Norwich away next, but then they've got City at home and Liverpool away. So a couple of tricky fixtures. So don't pile on to Brighton, I wouldn't, but unless you've got space on your bench to carry them for a couple of weeks. But
Are you sticking with Mopay, Ant?
I think for the time being, yeah, like Phil said, Norwich next for them, who are a bit of the whipping boys, aren't they? So, but after that, with City and Liverpool on the horizon, he may have to come out, but we'll see.
One to watch with Brighton is Lamptey. He's now back from injury.
Yeah, saw that. 4.5.
Star last season, wasn't he?
4.4 now. Yeah, he was.
Is he?
Yeah, he was a star last season, but he flattered to deceive a lot of times. He was impressive in as a spectator. You kind of think, well, he's played really well, but that didn't necessarily turn into points last season. It was a bit frustrating at times, but he's a great player to watch. Great young player, 4.4 million. Obviously, I think he'll kind of get eased back in. So I'm not sure they'll chuck him straight in against, with Liverpool and City coming up. But after those games, I can see him getting plenty of time on the pitch. Cucurella, as we discussed, is an excellent 5 million defender because he's effectively a winger for 5 million. And he's only played 4 games since he signed for Brighton. So his score might seem low. He's only got 19 points. But he picked up 3 bonus points the other day, and that was without getting, a clean sheet. Without getting a goal or an assist. So he's got 19 points from 4 games, and I think he's one to watch. And my biggest frustration, my biggest letdown from Brighton is Aaron Connolly. Do you remember last season he burst onto the scene, and a lot of people put him in. He's actually only played 59 minutes this season, despite being fit.
Wow, good stat.
So, yeah, he's obviously he's not scored, not got any assist, and of his alternative occupation, which was what you boys were meant to be thinking up. But I have thought up. I thought he'd be good at cleaning golf buggies.
Because
any reason?
I just think he looks like the sort of guy who would clean golf buggies. Well, he would clean them to an average standard, but when someone, a rich golfer came past, he really look like he's scrubbing it, trying to get a tip. He looks like a scavenger.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm really sorry that we didn't come up with players and alternative jobs they could do.
Hey, it's fine because it's more important that we think of your picks for life.
I was going to say, let's talk about picks here.
I didn't ask you to come up with any. I've just been thinking of them myself. They proved a bit of a distraction, granted, but
I don't know if you're going to beat Pork Life.
Pork Life's good.
It's right
really
up
good. Who's your second team, Ant? Because I am conscious of time.
Yes, Brentford, who have been a breath of fresh air. They finally got into Premier League. They've kind of threatened, haven't they, for years, boys? Kept failing in the playoffs, but they've had a brilliant start. Currently sit 7th in the league. They were arguably involved in one of the best games of the season so far. That 3-3 draw with Liverpool, and they're going toe to toe with these teams, aren't they? They've not changed their style. They're very much kept to their brand. And there's a couple of players who I think have had a bit of a slow start, but are now starting to come good. So Ivan Toney, there was a lot of talk with him at the start of the season. I know, Mike, you've had him in, and you've had him in for a while, I think, haven't you?
I have, and I'll be bringing him back in a week or two.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at Brentford's fixtures, bar game week 8, this weekend, where they have Chelsea at home, they've got a really, really good run of fixtures. And I think now, if you haven't got any Brentford assets, this could be the time. They've got Leicester home, Burnley away, Norwich home, Newcastle away, Everton home, Tottenham away, Leeds away, and that takes us virtually into the middle of December. So no fixture difficulty rating of higher than 3 right through until Christmas, boys. So defensively is where they've been picking up a lot of their points. Pinnock, who I've had and annoyingly had him on my bench one week when he got 7 points. He's joint top of their points, 38, with Pontus Jansson. And yeah, they've looked solid, haven't they? And you look at those last 2 results, boys. The way their mentality to go out and win a game. 1-1 at Upton Park, you would argue, would be a good result for them. 92nd minute was it? They pump the ball into box from a free kick. They put everyone up there. They weren't happy to settle for the point. They're going for it. And if you look at the teams, if you compare them to say Norwich, for example, who've come up with them, who are having an absolute shocker. They've been really, really good. I've really enjoyed watching them, and there's some assets out there, boys, that are worth having. And as I say, if you haven't got them, I think now is the time. Take Chelsea out in the next game. After that, get on that Brentford train.
Janssen is 4.6 million. He's as a defender, he's already got 3 assists this season.
Yeah, well, Pinnock scored, of course, as well. He's also 4.6 million, and he's got more than 2 points in all of his game weeks, bar 2. Maybe Canos is the only one I would have expected possibly a little bit more from him. Looked really, really good in the Championship, but actually I think he's only got 1 goal and 1 assist to his name so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're disappointed with Canos, right? He's got 27 points this season. Put that in some perspective. The highest scoring Burnley player has only got 20.
Well, yeah. I mean, as I say, I'm being hypercritical here. I think if you did ask us to pick out a player from each of ours who was disappointed, he's the only one. I mean, I don't think you could argue with Brentford anyone has really. If anyone had told you they'd be 7th in a European spot this far into the season, I don't think anyone would have believed you. So he's the only one possibly, but I can't wait to see what they do next with that little run of fixtures they've got, boys.
Yeah.
They could be aiming for top 10 here.
Thomas Frank for me would be an over-enthusiastic bartender.
That's a good shout.
Yeah. In France, I can see.
Why is he nipped over to France? I mean, he's German, isn't he?
No, I appreciate that, but I could see him on the set of Les Mis as the
doing the refreshments.
No, I can see him as the drunk, the guy that's drunk in the bar who runs the bar. And
so his alternative job would be an actor playing a bartender.
No, he just reminds me of that character in Les Mis. Anyway, too
right, and that was comprehensive. Thank you very much. Very competitive indeed.
You're very welcome.
For sure, I agree. Let's take a quick look at Arsenal then. Funny old team, and there's a bit of the Emperor's New Clothes. I think about the last few games with Spurs. Obviously, they had that run, that first 3 games, 3 defeats, failed to score in all 3, and suddenly now we're lauding them as a real prospect again. Actually, if you look at where their results have come, they won against Norwich, Burnley, and they took a point off Brighton. The only result that's a standout is Spurs, and that's a derby. And to will out an old cliche, anything can happen in a derby. So, I'm not convinced at all. And also, he seems to be rotating. If you look at their biggest point scorers, they are Saka, Smith Rowe, and Ramsdale. Now, Ramsdale we've talked up over the last few pods. I bought him in, and he's done very well in the last 4 games for me. But both Smith,
he's only played 4 games, Ramsdale, and he's their 3rd highest scorer.
Yeah, so that says it all, doesn't it?
Well, this is my point. Saka is their top scorer. He's only started 4 games, and 4 of the 7, and he's their top scorer. He's got 2 assists and 1 goal in the last 3. So he's hit a bit of form, and again, Smith Rowe, their 2nd highest player, has only played 5 out of 7. So yeah, I don't know. There's no attacking returns for any of their defenders. I include Tierney in that, who people seem to talk up quite a lot. There's been no attacking returns from Tierney as yet. Tomiyasu they've brought in, and he's a defender that likes defending as opposed to bombing on. So I just don't see anybody in the Arsenal squad that I would get behind at all. Even though their next few fixtures are still quite kind. If I quickly have a look for you, they've got Palace, and then they've got Villa, and then they've got Leicester, and then they've got Watford. So the next 4 look fairly comfortable on paper, but I just don't see it. And I don't think there's a nailed-on starting 11 there that you can really get behind.
But you've got Ramsdale. He's the only sort of asset you'd consider.
I've got him because he's 4.5, and in that bracket you've got
6.
Okay, so but when I took him in, he was 4.5. You've got Guaita at Palace, who's similar price. You've got Sanchez at Brighton. It's a choice between those 3 if you're looking for a budget keeper. And I just fancied Ramsdale as a bit of a differential at the time.
Yeah, well, because Leno's been dropped.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Who was your next team, Phil?
My next team was Everton, who are, I mean, they're providing the free budget midfielders, which everyone's scrambling over, aren't they? With Decore, Townsend, and Gray, who are their three highest point scoring players. Interestingly, Damari Gray's got what 3 times I think the ownership of the other two, but he has less points than the other two, which is a bit strange. He seems to be getting in a lot of good positions, Damari Gray. I've had him, and I haven't had Townsend or Decore. I mean, you could have started the season with all three for about 16 million or something ridiculous, and you would have had a massive haul of points because they are between them. They've got a huge. Let me do some basic maths. 122 points.
Wow.
Pretty good. And they're still all under 6 million. Decore and Townsend 5.6 and Gray 5.8. They've been picking up their points from midfield. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin has now been injured for 4 games. He's not played. He started the season well. He got a dog somewhere. He got 3 goals in 3 games, 7, 7, and 9, and then got injured. He is on his way back, so he is my one to watch for Everton. I think when he comes back, it's proven that he's going to get the service now. Not Decore, sorry, Townsend and Gray on the wings, pinging the balls in for Calvert-Lewin is a recipe that I can see working and continually working for Everton.
I quite like what they're doing there. It's predominantly they're adopting an old-fashioned 4-4-2, which is my preferred formation. That's the one I grew up with, and there aren't many teams playing it now. Most people are playing 3 at the back, or they're playing a 4-2-3-1. So just to see a good old school 4-4-2 and wingers doing what wingers used to do, just getting down the line and bombing in across. Yeah, it's great to see.
Rondon, he didn't come good the other week. He's not looked too on the pace, so I wouldn't bother with him. Yeah, the biggest disappointment Everton wise, and I'm sure you could probably guess it if you tried, is Luca Digne, who's
scored a nice own goal the other week.
Don't I know it? I had him until just last week. I had him for the first 6 game weeks, and he was a source of real frustration.
7 weeks in, he's got no attacking returns at all, assists or goals. He's only got 16 points in a team that's actually doing pretty well. I think I saw a stat that said he hadn't scored or something for like 2 years.
Is that right? Blimey.
I mean, that could be complete fabrication, but I think I saw that. And
Sounds possible.
Yeah, we all bring him in because he's on free kicks. But he's dropped down to 5.3 now. Even Alan in the Everton midfield has got. Sorry, what's funny about Alan?
It's just the way you said it.
Alan Prost.
It was like something out of indeed.
He's got 2 assists. He's 4.6 million on the game.
A lot of pretentious midfielders come through the books at Everton recently. What with Alan calling himself Alan, and young James calling himself James. It's all a bit unnecessary, if you ask me.
Very true. And Lucas Digne.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Very hyacinth bouquet. Phil, that's your second. So we've got one more round each.
Yes,
we have 6 minutes in which to cover them, lads. So
good grief.
2 minutes apiece. Anne, over to you.
Well, good news is it's Norwich, and there's not much to say, boys, is there? Other than it's a tragic affair down at Carrow Road, isn't it? 1 point to the name. Timo Pukki, who for some reason Mike's got in his team. I'm not quite sure why. Not quite having. Well, he is, but he's not exactly having his Pukki party this time around, is he?
No.
Just 23 points, only 2 goals scored, no assists, and the only thing you can say about Norwich is if they're actually going to have a fight to try and stay up, then after Brighton at home and then Chelsea away, they do have a good little run, boys, of games from the end of October right through into December. So they've got Leeds at home, Brentford away, Southampton home, Wolves home, Newcastle away, and if they can't get points there, then they're going to be relegated a long time before the end of the season. In terms of assets, I'll tell you what I'm really disappointed with is old Gilmore, who I thought this could be a really good loan move for him, Billy Gilmore. Started the first 3 game weeks, no returns, and then hasn't really been involved since, other than the home game against Watford. No goals, no assists. I know he's playing in a really poor team, but I don't think you could have an argument for any Norwich asset, could you, boys, really? Other than they're cheap and they might be bench enablers. I don't know, but
Yeah, no,
they're having a right old struggle.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think I am looking. I flagged it up earlier when I was talking about Leeds. When I was looking at them, I think that's a game where Leeds are going to get caught out. So put a date in your diary. Sunday, the 31st of October. Timu Spooky. He will score and they will win against Leeds. I'm calling it 25 days in advance, lads.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let us know your next team, Mike.
All right, yeah, Man City then. What I'm really surprised by that there are a couple of players that are playing week in, week out. Cancelo and Diaz are two of their top three scorers, and it won't surprise you to it won't surprise you to hear that's because they've been playing the most minutes, but it might surprise you to hear that Cancelo has played every single minute of Premier League football available to him this season.
Yeah.
Wow.
6.2 million, 44 points. He is their top scorer. And yeah, if he's going to continue to get that run in the team, then he's where some of my Ronaldo money is going to go, I think, in terms of upgrading my defence. My worry is your man at Chelsea, who did I bring in? Alonso, had exactly the same stats going into this game week, and I brought him in, and suddenly he finds himself on the bench. But yeah, Cancelo at 44. Diaz, 39 points again, has played every game. He started every game. And he's 6.1. Someone who started 5 of the last 6, who might be worth a little bit of a look because he's good value, at 5.5 million is Laporte. So he started 5 of the last 6, forging quite the partnership there at the back with Diaz. So he might be worth a look. And the other one who's a bit left field, and I think we've talked about him from time to time, is Gabriel Jesus. 8.6 million for a player who is probably the bookies' favourite team to win the league, and he is their only out-and-out striker. He started their last 6 games. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists in those 6 games, and he's 8.6 mil. So yeah, I think if you're looking to shake up your front line, that could again be where some of my Ronaldo goes. I could be dropping Ronaldo to Jesus and upgrading someone like Marçal or Livramento to Cancelo. Yeah, I mean, they're not scoring as freely as they were last year. I know they had the 2-5-0 results against Norwich and Arsenal early on in the season. But yeah, a little less dynamic in their last few games. Burnley, Brighton, Palace are the next 3.
Yeah, it's time to get on City, isn't it?
I think it might be City-tastic.
Torres, do you remember Torres got
don't
ball earlier? He hasn't
fall for the hype.
I've been there.
I've warned you about this in the last pod. Don't fall for the hype.
Okay.
Phil, your last one.
Yes, my last one is Leicester. And as we discussed 2 weeks ago, Vardy shows no sign of letting up. He's got 6 goals, 1 assist in the last 7 games. He's 10.5 million. So if you are downgrading Ronaldo, which seems to be a very popular move at the moment, then I actually fancy him against United because Ole Solskjaer is under pressure now, isn't he? So I think he's going to have to play some attacking football, which of course leaves space for Vardy. My one to watch isn't Vardy, it's Iheanacho, who finally got a start at the weekend and scored. His price has dropped from 7.5 to 7 million already this season.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets a couple more starts, then I think people will be lumping on him. I think he's really
agreed.
If he's 7 million and starting for Leicester, then that's a bargain. Obviously, biggest disappointment, James Maddison. I mean, he has been absolutely terrible when he has played, and he hasn't played much. He's got 12 points all season. He's been coming on as a sub in the last 3 games. He hasn't got an assist. He hasn't got a goal. The only points he's earned apart from playing is 1 clean sheet point against Wolves. It's not very good. It's not very good for James Maddison.
He feels like the forgotten man, really, doesn't he? You wouldn't even know he's been even coming on for Leicester or playing or been involved at all, would you?
No, he's really not been good. You flagged him last weekend. Tielemans, he's got 1 goal, 1 goal, 2 assists. But Leicester have been very poor by their standards. Rodgers is actually under a little bit of pressure, I think. So I think Iheanacho might start more regularly because I think that's what the fans have been calling for. And when you're under pressure, you kind of bow to the will of the fans a bit more, don't you?
Well, they have had some bad injuries as well, haven't they? But yeah, Rodgers did come out the weekend, didn't he? And said that he needs to find the balance. He's struggling to find that balance of making them more offensive, but not leaving them too open at the back. They seem to have been really easy to get at this season, Leicester. Been conceding plenty of goals. But you would expect them to only get better.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, they have to really. And Vardy, despite them not playing well, as you know, he's been flying as Craig said, was champion. Start the season. And you had him in your team, and then got.
I had him. Yes, I did. Yeah, and I took him out just as he started really getting into his little purple patch. So that was good timing.
So you went Vardy to Ronaldo. That was a bad move. I went Mane to Ronaldo. That was a bad move. And Mike, you.
No bad moves. No bad moves made in my season thus far.
Okay, great. So, boys, we're going to round it up here, and we'll continue the second half.
Yeah, I've got an abattoir I need to call.
Okay. Okay, well, good luck with your phone call.
I'm going to trot off.
Lovely. Any more big puns?
No, that's all I got.
Okay, cool. Okay, gents, we'll have a great week, and we'll be back, like we say, early next week. It'll be earlier than Wednesday next week. We might even get recording at the weekend if we can, because there's no games, and we're not going to be watching.
What else are we going to do?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing to do. Not even Bournemouth are playing. Okay, gents, we'll have a good week. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to leave us a review on Apple, please do. Up to 6. Let's make it 7. And have a good week. Stay safe. Cheers, guys.
Much love.
Bye now. Pork life.